Hi there! Welcome to episode 128 of the WaveBack Music Podcast. My name is Kris.
And I'm Matt.
And we're here to listen to the most interesting video game music there is. The role-playing genre is known for many things, and fantastic music is one of them. So, to celebrate the 35th anniversary of RPG royalty, we're doing what we do best, appreciating its music. Beware of approaching danger, because tonight we listen to the music of Dragon Warrior for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Well, hello, Matt. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am delightful.
Okay.
Had a good day today. I'm having a good week so far. It's coming along nicely, I must say.
That's excellent to hear. I like to hear when my friends are doing well.
Yeah, if I'm getting the hang of this whole work schedule thing, which will only really be around for another month until the kids are on summer vacation. But, you know, for the time being, it's working out well, getting a lot done. And I just made a video for Stone Age Gamer about this Sega driving system. It's this awesome little doodad. It's a Japanese thing, although I think it was released in America and Europe too, but I had never seen it. I picked it up at Too Many Games, and it's the Japanese version, so I couldn't read any of the instructions. It's like a little steering wheel thing and a little plastic bar that goes on the front of your television that has a car on it. And when you turn the steering wheel, the car drives back and forth. And then you put in a VHS tape, which is, you know, like just footage of driving. And then you pretend to dodge the other cars on the road. It's really cool. There's this one point where there's cows. And they're just like, there's cows on the road, okay. And there's just this guy talking in Japanese the whole time. I have no idea what he's saying.
Okay.
It made me pretty happy.
It sounds fun and ridiculous all at the same. It honestly sounds like a couple of other things I remember from my childhood. I remember very specifically this little tabletop thing. It was like red. And it had like this kind of backlit film-ish sort of thing. The road was black, and you kind of did a similar thing with the car. But you could actually like hit something and it stops. Like I can't imagine that this VHS tracks your, destruction and damage.
No, there's no tracking of damage, but I think there's supposed to be, and it doesn't seem to work, but it does seem that there's supposed to be some sort of scoring system. And I think it doesn't work because of the size of my television, because there's this chunk at the bottom of there's this light that keeps going on and off inside the car while I'm using it. And at the bottom of the screen, it's like this black bar where a chunk of it stays solid black, and then another part of it, the solid black is where, judging by the video, you'd be safe. And then everything else is flashing white. And I think it keeps track of your score of like how much you stay in that black zone. But the thing is that I have a pretty large CRT, and this was designed before that was a thing. So like it's built to have these little like metal rods that stick to the top of your TV and hold the thing in place in front of your small CRT. But since my TV's too big, I had to rig something to kind of keep the car in place while I played. So it wasn't lined up perfectly. But speaking of fun, retro things still being worthwhile in the modern day. Right before this, I put my kids to bed, and it was my turn to read with my daughter because we swap every night. One of us reads with one of us reads with the other, and she wanted to read downstairs because she wanted her third story to be the Scuffy the Tugboat record from when I was a kid.
Wow,
the read along record.
She's playing the smart game. That record's like 45 minutes. I don't have to be asleep for another 45 minutes. All right.
I can't tell you how much I used to listen to that thing when I was a kid with my little Fisher-Price record player thing. And it just makes me so happy that they remember it. Like, even my kids, they just think it's neat. John, not as much anymore because he's 7 now, but and he's a little old for those stories, but he still thinks they're neat. But she still requests it, and mostly because of this little song that's in there, which I don't know.
I won't sail in a bathtub. A tub is no place for a red painted tugboat. I was meant for bigger things.
I'm tired of sitting here on a shelf. I want to see what my future will bring. I just keep telling myself that I was meant for bigger things.
It just fills my heart with joy. I just love the sounds of that thing.
That's all that matters.
Glad records are in my life once again. So, but anyway, we should probably get to work here, huh?
I guess so.
Yeah, why not?
If you make me.
We're going to talk about Dragon Warrior. And I have some feelings about this game. I'm not the biggest Dragon Warrior fan on the planet, but I certainly don't hate the game. And I have a lot of interest in playing some of the newer entries someday. But anyway, Matt, hit us with some history.
Certainly. Dragon Warrior was released for the Nintendo Entertainment System in August of 1998, and was the American localization of Dragon Quest, which is celebrating its 35th anniversary, having released on May 27th, 1986 in Japan. Dragon Quest was a massive success for a Famicom, and basically set the standard for what would eventually become the JRPG genre, and Nintendo wanted to do its best to replicate that success in the United States. In a somewhat misguided attempt to appeal more to American audiences, they changed the name from Dragon Quest to Dragon Warrior, and redrew the game's cover art to be more realistic. What Nintendo didn't realize at the time, though, was that the original artwork probably would have gone over just fine, since the art was done by Akira Toriyama, the creator of the now immensely popular in America Dragon Ball franchise. Nintendo of America also gave out free copies of this game to Nintendo Power subscribers in a bid to get the game into as many hands as possible. If they could replicate the series' success in the States, they would surely sell a ton of copies of its inevitable sequels. However, while the game enjoyed a degree of success, it never became the blockbuster it was overseas. In the game, you play as Knight Erdrick. There's a ball of light, a dragon, a quest, and the whole 9 yards of classic RPG storytelling, and effectively kicked off a franchise that's still going strong today.
The game's music was composed by Koichi Sugiyama, and the main theme is one of the most recognizable pieces of game music in Japan, and has also been reprised in some form in just about every single Dragon Quest release, which is a lot. He's written for musicals, TV shows, animated movies, and more, but is perhaps most well known for his work on the Dragon Quest series, considering what a cultural phenomenon it has become. In addition to his work throughout the franchise, he's also written for games like Evo, Search for Eden, some ports of Monopoly, and the World Golf series. So, Matt.
Yes, Kris?
What is it? What's your history with Dragon Warrior?
Pretty much nil.
Really?
Yeah, so when I was a kid, I got Final Fantasy 1. And at the time, I didn't quite understand it. I didn't understand the mechanics of the game. Like, it was just, it wasn't a 2D side-scroller or, platform or whatever it was. So it was a little out of my depth, right? But I still really enjoyed it. There was something about it that kept me trying to play and kept trying to advance. Then when Dragon Quest came out, I saw it, and I'm pretty sure I saw it in the Nintendo Power, too. Which is weird because I never got a copy of it. I was a Nintendo Power subscriber, but I never got a copy of it. But I had seen it, and there was something about the mechanics, the visuals for fighting monsters that I just did not like. And to this day, I do not like that visual style where the monsters are facing you on the screen, facing you, the player, in your house. You don't necessarily see your players. I've never cared for that. And it's been done in other RPGs and stuff, and I never liked it. And honestly, that's really the only thing I never that I didn't like about the series. I've never really truly played them, and it's what turned me off from the whole series. Like, a whole franchise has, in my opinion, been ruined by this visual styling, and I never looked back. However, there was a recent, I think it was a remake, that you could play it in its old pixel graphics or its updated, fancy 3D.
I think that was just the newest game in the series.
Yeah?
Yeah, Dragon Quest XI, I believe, has the whole game is playable in retro style.
Yeah, in the retro versus the new. All right, well, I stand corrected. Either way, that game piqued my interest a wee bit, and then of course I saw it was Dragon Quest. Like, I'm not even joking you. If it's anything, I'm like, oh, hey, that was pretty cool. What is that? Is it Dragon Quest? Oh, I'm not interested. There's something about the franchise that just, it's limp noodle. I don't know. But I all things being equal, I was curious about the last one. I was very kind of like, you know what? Maybe I should hang up this stupid idea that I have, or attempt to get past it and just play the game. Like, it's a world-renowned franchise. Like, it's 11 deep. How could it possibly be terrible? You know what I mean? Like, you just don't like the aesthetic? You're a dummy. Shut up. Go play the game. And
it's 11 deep plus like 350 bazillion spin-offs.
Yeah, right. And that's my history with the series.
All right. Well, I don't have a lot more history than you. And as far as the Dragon Quest or Dragon Warrior series has gone, I've played this one.
Okay.
And none of the rest. I own several others. I know.
Right.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm actually looking at my collection right now. Let's see. Dragon Warrior. What do I own? Dodgem, Donkey Kong, Doom, Dr. Mario, Dragon Ball, Dragon Spirit, Dragon Warrior. Okay, it's just the NES ones. I own 1, 2, 3, and 4 on NES, and holy crow, are these games become expensive.
Yeah.
Well, the first one complete goes for around 56.
Mm-hmm.
The second one complete is 156.
Whoa.
The third one complete is 256.
What?
And the fourth one complete is 330.
Wow, I wonder why.
Well, I know the production runs for each one was lower
significantly.
each time.
That makes perfect sense then. There's just less and less of them. That makes sense.
And I have all 4 of them and had intended to play them someday and just never really got around to it. Because, go me. But this first one, my friend who had a Nintendo Power subscription got this game. And he wasn't crazy about it, so he lent it to me. And I remember thinking the cover was super cool. Because I didn't really look too closely at it. It looks really great at a glance, and then when you look closer, you realize the dragon's head is one of the goofiest looking things I've ever seen in my life. It just looks like somebody painted over a horse head and drew a bunch of pointy things on it for teeth, and it's a terrible dragon. But anyways, so he lent it to me, and I remember booting it up and listening to that title screen music. I just really loved the title screen music, and I couldn't wait to dive into it, and then I hated it. I also, like you, I didn't like the head-on perspective where you couldn't see the characters. It was my first turn-based RPG, and this effectively turned me off to turn-based RPGs for years and years and years.
Oh, that's a shame.
Just an incredibly long time. This and Final Fantasy. I didn't really like either of them. This one in particular, though, was very cumbersome. Like, you walked over to stairs and you had to hit stairs. Like, in Zelda, I can just walk upstairs when I go up to them. When do I not want to walk up the stairs? Like, what the heck is this?
Why even put them there?
But I tried. I did spend a lot of time with it, and the music really stuck with me. I love this game's, albeit limited, soundtrack quite a bit, and it left a real impression on me going forward, and it's one of the reasons I've wanted to spend more time with the franchise. Now, I did play. I started the demo for Dragon Quest XI on Switch, and I did relatively enjoy it. But I wound up getting the full game for Christmas, but it's one that I haven't gone back to. It's on my backlog list of things to get to eventually, but I know it's a gigantic undertaking, and I just have so many other things to get to. Dedicating myself to a gigantic long RPG like that is kind of difficult to do. But that said, I love Akira Toriyama's art style, and I've heard so many good things about this one in particular that it's just a really, really good game the further you get into it. So, I don't know. I hope to get to it someday, but...
Just slightly on topic, but a little off topic, I was looking up the original cover art, and I agree the original cover art is fantastic and probably should have stayed. But I did find that there is a 25th anniversary and a 30th anniversary of the Dragon Quest illustrations by Akira. So you can get yourself like a nice hardcover for $25 on Amazon if you really dig the art style. So, and that goes for everyone else too.
I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan, and it's really funny to think that this is early Toriyama's work, and this would have hit America before Dragon Ball. This would have been such a primer for that in the States, and I just think that it would have been so much cooler had this game worn its actual personality on its sleeve instead of trying to look more edgy and realistic and violent on the outside. Like, that being said, I think Dragon Warrior is a bit of a cooler name than Dragon Quest.
I'll agree with you.
I mean, I like both of them. I'm a little bit more akin to Dragon Warrior just because I really like that font. I think it's really nice looking. But Dragon Quest is probably a little bit more matches the game's personality. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to work here.
Yes.
So over the intro of this episode, I was going to play a different version of one of the songs in the game, the Throne Room song. There's like two different versions of it, and one of them's a bit shorter. So we'll listen to the full version. It's going to be our third track tonight, but usually I'll play like the intro music or something over the actual intro to the episode. But the title theme of Dragon Warrior is one of the, like I said in the earlier, it's one of the most recognizable pieces of music in video game history. And it's a really, really good song. So that's where we're going to start. Here is the title theme from Dragon Warrior. Enjoy. That's the title theme, and I honestly can't tell you how many times I stopped. I would just kind of held the game in position to listen to that opening sequence. There's something very uncharacteristically orchestral about the beginning of that song. I feel like for NES games, like the way the intro works, and it just kind of and then it picks back up with a different cadence, and it's a gorgeous piece after that, and it's translated over the years so well to the like full orchestral instrumentation and whatnot, and you can really just kind of hear that in the song. It was really written to be a sweeping epic piece, and it works so well. It's such a delightful song.
It must be amazing, or I should say, it must be an amazing kind of experience to write this piece of music back then. Have in your mind like exactly how you envision it, but being limited by obviously the tech, and then live long enough for it to then become that big sweeping orchestral piece that you potentially had in your head. I couldn't imagine what that feels like, but I absolutely I hear exactly what you're saying. It's a beautiful little piece of music. I can feel it wants to be much bigger than it is, but not in a bad way, like not someone trying. You know what I mean? You hear it and you're like, yeah, I get it. I totally get it. I will say, I mean, it's the NES, so I can't really, bash it too hard. there's certain notes that I feel are a little grating, and I think it's just because of what's the word, frequency resonance, where some things are just kind of sitting on top of each other and creating an artificial like volume dynamic. So there's certain areas that are louder than others, but I think it's just because of that little, acoustic phenomena. But I mean, otherwise, like that's literally the worst thing I could possibly say about that track. I thought it was fantastic, though. Again, as someone who's not a fan of the franchise, like, oh man, I kind of wish I was. This is good stuff.
Yeah, it's a really, it definitely is the kind of piece of music that makes you think you're about to really get into something epic. Like it just feels good. I really love that song.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep on moving on to the second track, which is it's technically the town theme, but it also shows up when you're entering your name and stuff in the very beginning of the game, before it dives you in. But this is a very cute town song. I really don't know what other word to use for it other than cute. It's, I don't know. It makes me feel more like RPG menu music than RPG town music, but maybe it's just because that's where my mental association went with it. But either way, it's a cool song. So let's give it a listen. Here is track 2, Town. Enjoy. From Dragon Warrior, and right, cute.
I get it. Yeah, absolutely. It's if I didn't know any better, I'd almost feel like this was pulled like from Kirby, like a Kirby game. If you played it and you made me guess, I'm also terrible at that game, as we all found out. But big shouts to Matt. I would say this is from a Kirby game, and again, not necessarily in a bad way. It just, I don't see the two coming together. That aside, though, again, a great little piece of music.
Yeah, it's very catchy. It's very pleasant. It's very delightful, and I mean, it might just be partially the instrumentation, but there's something about this song that doesn't make me think RPG town music. It doesn't sound like your typical RPG festival town music, and it also doesn't feel quite so relaxed as town music. It's almost vaguely jaunty.
Yeah. There's like a Calliope kind of, if that's how you say it. I never know how to pronounce that word, but like a merry-go-round midway kind of feel.
Yeah. I definitely hear that. It's a weird song. Not a bad song, but it's a weird song.
Not weird bad, just weird.
Strange little piece of music there. Well, all right. So this next track is called Tengil Castle, or Throne Room, and this is the song that has two different versions of it. This is the one that is, I don't know, it's better because there's more to it. The other one just kind of repeats the one phrase over and over again, and this has a little bit more going on. This is such a memorable song for me. It's a simple track. There's not a lot to it, but this one really sticks with you. It's a really cool song. So here is Tengil Castle. Enjoy. Okay, that was Tangil Castle. I hope I'm saying that right. And really, I don't care if I'm saying it right. That song rules. That song is so cool, man. And like the opening track, I always kind of felt that it had this more orchestral thing going on behind it, but there's something very, like, that one makes sense to me. There's a really cool regal feel to that one. But it's also just kind of got this, it's got that almost air of mystery and or dread floating on behind it. Like, it's like, okay, you started off with the really sweeping, epic, joyous, glorious music, and then you went to this happy little jaunty town music, and then like, no, get serious. There's a dragon, you gotta warrior it.
Or quest it.
Or quest it, depending on where you're from.
Depending on your geography.
You're wearing blue armor, you're not Shovel Knight, and you're out to find a dragon and slay it. And it just really threw the tone swung it in the opposite direction. And it's so weird for me going back and looking at this game, knowing what I do now, that it was, Toriyama's work, because I'm such a huge Dragon Ball fan, and I never knew that. I wasn't a Dragon Ball fan until later in life, and then even then, it wasn't until I'd seen a ton of Dragon Ball when I was told that the Dragon Quest franchise was always Toriyama's work. And then I went back and played some of their first game and was like, oh my god, this is totally Toriyama's artwork on the freaking Nintendo. And it's also oozing with his personality as far as the storytelling goes, but it's so much younger here. I had a different perception of what this game was based on its box art. Like, I read it very seriously, and now I look at it with a different tone because I understand the tone that comes with Toriyama's artwork and stuff. And this song in particular is one of those things that it just made me think things were a lot more serious than they were. Either way, I love the song. I just think it's a great tune.
So I'm not a Dragon Ball fan. So you can send all your hate mail to 3050. But the song itself. Actually, wait. I want to say this. So I'm not a Dragon Ball fan, but you have piqued my interest now by saying you understand the tone with the animation. Or, I'm paraphrasing. So you've piqued my interest a wee bit there. But anyway, the track itself, which is what I'm here for, yeah, I agree with everything you said. There is this regal in the court, and not, order in the courtroom can't beat the rap. You're in front of the king, perhaps. It's a very regal meeting. And then you get that second part, which is fantastic. It almost comes out of nowhere, and then it changes the whole dynamic of this thing, and you're like, ooh, okay, all right, okay. Well, like you said, we'll get serious. We gotta get serious. Some big's going down, and I dig it. I dig it a lot. I think this is really good, and this is something I'd like to hear, like a modern take on, if it exists.
Yeah, as far as I know, a lot of the music in these games, and it was weird because I'm doing the research here, trying to figure out this guy's history, the composer, and I remember when they put the Dragon Quest Hero in Smash Brothers, no music from this game appears because of some sort of licensing issue. Like, apparently different this, but if it's all the same guy who's been working on the franchise since the get-go, like, why is there weird licensing tied up in these songs?
Why is it even a thing?
Yeah, I don't understand it at all. But as far as I know, the main theme is always reprised, but I don't ever recall hearing other versions throughout my travels of these other songs. Now, granted, I haven't listened to a lot of Dragon Quest music.
Yeah, right.
Because as far as I know, the franchise is not actually known for its music. In fact, one of the things that people didn't like about the last Dragon Quest game was its soundtrack. Not that it was bad, just that it wasn't particularly good. Whereas Final Fantasy is like, oh my god, Nobuo Uematsu, like this is glorious, top to bottom. Whereas I always just kind of assumed Dragon Warrior continued to have great music, because as much as I didn't really like this game, I loved its soundtrack. Like, the music really stuck with me. So I don't know. Any Hoosers, this next one is the song, with the exception of the title theme. This is the song that stuck with me the most because it's because of the eeriness factor. This is the Overworld song. So, you walk around on a map and then you get into random encounters, etc., etc. And this is the music that plays on the map. And I've always found this track to be deeply unsettling. There's something very, very lost and alone to it. Not just alone, like the music in something like Metroid gives this air of solitude, but this one in particular just always made me feel really like lost and alone, and just not in a like terrified, shivering kind of way, just more of a like really sad kind of way. It's a beautiful piece of music, but it's partially the composition, it's partially the instrumentation. Everything about this piece comes together in a very unsettling way to me personally, and I'm curious what you get out of it, or what anybody else really gets out of this song, because I can't help but feel that it's a unique feeling to me. But this is the song that stuck with me more than any other song, with the exception of the title theme, when I think of Dragon Warrior. And also one of the reasons I never played the sequels, because again, I had this misconception on what the tone of the Dragon Quest franchise in general was supposed to be, and this was one of those songs that kind of made me feel that. And again, it was often at odds with the music. Like, you'd be walking around to this really scary, sad music, and then you'd get into a fight with an adorable slime and be like, what? Anyway, here is Overworld from Dragon Warrior. Enjoy. Okay, that was the deeply haunting Overworld theme. What did you make of that one?
I definitely hear what you're saying. It's very like its central melody, or its leading instruments, if you will, are very stripped. Like,
it feels really hollow.
Right. The central melody to me, I definitely get the isolation from, not only in tone for, setting the tone, but actually sonically. To me it feels. I know this isn't possible for the time for the NES and stuff, really, to have like panning and hard left, hard right, that sort of stuff. But it feels very, very center, and like very, very I guess isolated, for lack of a. I mean, there's, just taking a moment and thinking back, there's not a lot going on. So I mean, that lends itself to the idea of this very isolated. There's like two melodies.
That's it. It's just, there's no percussion, there's no bass, there's no nothing. It's just the do 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 do,
and then that backing,
really staccato notes.
Yeah,
and then it's just that really high pitched, almost like a flute or whatever it is. But it's very but they didn't add any effect to it or anything. It's flat. It's completely flat. It's very much like you're just lost in the woods, and this is like, you have nothing but a flute, and you're just gonna play. You're gonna play a tune, and then
to like keep yourself company or something.
Exactly. Like, there's just something really, really unsettlingly eerie about this song.
No, I
love it.
I dig it. I dig it. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Everything that you're saying is great about this song. Is I'm 100% agreeing with it. That's what makes this song as good as it is. And it
is such an example of less is more. Like, when you really just strip it down, it sounds so electric. It sounds so just electronic. It doesn't engage in any embellishments that the NES was capable of.
No.
Even at this time, even at this early stage in development for the Famicom, they could have done more with this song. There was more impressive music out there already, but there's just there's just nothing. This is just flat, and those staccato notes are just bleeps, basically. It's such a bizarre track. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so the next two songs are two different versions of the same song. So, the Underworld, basically all the dungeons you go into this game, and this was what turned me off to this game more than anything else. Any of the dungeons that you go into, you always have to, like, use torches and stuff to kind of expand where you can and can't see, and you just get in all these fights, and it's really, really easy to die. Like, it's just incredibly brutally difficult to find your way through these labyrinths and stuff, and it was just too much for me. But every one of these things has the same song. And each floor you go down, the song changes key down. Down, down, down. So I picked two that I think are the most interesting. Like, the first floor I think is just too darn high-pitched. So we're going to listen to Underworld Level 3 to start. And then when we come back, we'll listen to the absolute bottom layer, just because...
Why the hell not?
I don't know if it's awesome or hilarious just how deep this goes. But anyway, here is the incredibly repetitive and also somewhat unsettling Underworld Level 3. Enjoy. Level 3. Here's my gripe with that song. When you think just from a basic composition standpoint, this is not entirely dissimilar to the Labyrinth music that Koji Kondo did for The Legend of Zelda.
Correct.
And yet, this sounds so much more dead than that song does. Like, it's very similar, right? It's got one melody and then the doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo going on in the background. It's very similar. But it comes down to, like, instrument choices. And again, I want to give the game credit for the way that it made you feel about those other songs. Specifically, we were just talking about with the Overworld, with the really flat tones. But then it almost makes me think, like, did they just not know how to add more layers and stuff to it? And then I think of, like, back to the title theme, like, no, obviously they knew how to do, like, to make this stuff sound more full. But maybe this song is written so basically so that it can be as malleable as it has to be, where it changes keys every single floor you go down. Right. Because, woo boy, it gets weirder. So, we'll listen to the next one and then you let me know what you think of the whole shebang. All right. So this next one is Underworld Dark World Lair. This is the bottom. This is as low as it gets. And it is, I don't know, it made me laugh the first time I heard it, because I never got this far in the game. And then I downloaded the soundtrack and was like, wait, what? Here you go. Underworld Dark World Lair. Enjoy. They went too far, right? Like, you've dug too deep.
just a little. I mean, it's look, I appreciate it. I really, really do. But I mean, I even appreciate the, like, okay, it's definitely pitched down, but they even slowed it down too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's the other thing. Every single one of them kept getting slower and lower. Like, it wasn't just, yeah.
I don't know if that would have driven me crazy. You know, like, as like you just play and you're like, I don't even know if I would have noticed as a kid. You know, as an adult, I totally would have been like, wait, what is this? What are you doing? What are you guys doing? composition wise, like just like you said, you're right. It shares so many similarities with the dungeon music from The Legend of Zelda. It's good. It's certainly not my favorite so far. It's good, but like I feel like there's something lacking. I almost feel like, and I hate to do this because I really don't like when this is a thing, but it feels like it's trying to be something as opposed to being itself. Like, you know, who am I to say that they weren't influenced or they weren't told, you know, this game over here is a big hit. Like, you got to do something like that. You know, I don't know. I wasn't in the room where the decisions are made. So I don't want to, speculate, but it's good. Just not my favorite.
It's fine. Yeah, that's pretty much all I think of it is. It's fine, but it's not enough, especially considering how much time you spend in here. It needed. I feel like this song needed more. This needed more something, more another layer of something, another piece to the song.
It's
just kind
certainly
of give it a little more
very
texture.
short.
It's very short and it's very untextured. And I understand that making it more complex may have made this whole trick that they did where it keeps getting deeper and slower,
right,
even sillier. But I mean, like, we're listening to it, and when it goes to the part, you were just laughing. And we were both just cracking up at that. I mean, it just sounds silly at that point.
But to be fair, though, I felt that way on level 3. I can only imagine what it sounds like on level 1. I think it's just kind of a funny... It just kind of comes out of nowhere, and it almost
kind of
doesn't feel like
thing.
It doesn't feel like part of the song. Like, it almost feels like it was someone was like, "Look what I can do," and they're like, throw it in there."
Sure, why not? There's no oversight. Yeah, they didn't run it past anybody.
No, I mean, they were the anybody's. They're like, "Man, it sounds good. Let's do it." You know, it's when you're cooking, you've got a little bit of spice left. You're like, all right, whatever. No one's gonna notice. And then all of a sudden, everything tastes like coriander or whatever.
Cumin.
That's what I was. Cumin. That's what I was looking for, not coriander. Cumin is so specific.
It is.
All right. Anyway, enough culinary chit chat. Let's get back to the.
I made a tater tot taco casserole for lunch this week.
What?
Yeah.
Tater tot taco casserole. All right. So hang on, guys, because I know now you guys are just as interested as I am. I need to hear about this. We're going to take 2 minutes and we're going to hear about this.
All right. I talked about this a little bit on Stone Age Gamer, but
all right.
So I'll recap. When
Please.
I was growing up, my mom found somewhere, I don't know, some recipe for something called taco casserole, and she used to make it all the time, and I just loved it. And when I grew up, I started making it for myself for dinner because I remembered how she made it, and I wound up cutting it with rice to make it last longer.
Okay.
So like I did the same thing. It was like a regular package of I always use ground turkey for all of my taco needs instead of beef. I just like ground turkey better. Sure. And it's like ground turkey, and when we were kids and poor and whatnot, it was that, and like onion powder and garlic powder and some dried spices and stuff, chili powder, can of tomato sauce. Now I use fresh herbs now and chop and saute some onions and garlic in there now, which is so good. And so you put that whole mixture together, and then you get a casserole dish, and you get a bag of nacho cheese Doritos. You crunch them up across the bottom. Then you pour the meat mixture on top. Then you dice a tomato, throw that on top, and then you cover it in a mixture of cheddar and jack cheese. You bake it, and it's just amazing.
Holy cow.
Just love it.
I had dinner and I'm salivating.
So what I eventually did was I cut it with rice as well. So I just added about 2 cups of rice to that, and it made the whole meal last a little bit longer and be a little bit more filling. It kind of, made the whole thing just ever so slightly more bland because it was like the rice was just filler. It didn't really add anything to it other than more food. So I'm scrolling through Facebook, and this recipe from Old El Paso drops in, and just like as an ad, like, hey, tater taco casserole, check this out. And I just took a look at their screenshot. I was like, I can top that. I looked at their recipe. I was like, I'm not even reading this. I see that, and I see that it's trash. But the idea of adding tater tots to taco casserole is freaking genius, because potato plus Mexican food is such a good thing, and like calling this Mexican food is a stretch.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
This is a complete abomination, probably to anyone who actually enjoys real Mexican food, even though that's me as well. I don't know. Good food's good food. Doritos rule. I don't know.
We'll agree.
I don't know what to say. It's not authentic, but it is delicious. So what I did was I yanked the rice out of the recipe. It's like, you know what? Not doing that. I'm going to take the rice out. I'm going to cook it, the way I used to, which is so good without the rice. It's just all the right amount of flavors.
Mm-hmm.
And I did the whole same thing, except for on top of the tomatoes, but before the cheese, I cooked most of a bag of tater tots, like baked them down so they were nice and crispy, threw those suckers on top, then put the cheese on top of that. It's so good. I've been eating it for lunch all week long. It's genius. I love it to death. There you go, everyone.
You're welcome.
Tater tot taco casserole.
You're all welcome for that. If you're driving and listening to this and you're hungry, you're welcome.
I'll put the recipe in the show notes or something.
Boom! Look at that. I just got you guys a free recipe. Like, who better than us, huh? Come for the music, stay for the recipes. Like,
my wife recently decided that she wasn't crazy about taco casserole.
oh.
So I started experimenting with things that I've always wanted to.
I thought you were going to say, so I started exploring divorce, and I was going to say, well, that's fair too.
No, because she doesn't like spicy food all that much. So I've added a couple dashes of hot sauce, and I also swapped out the nacho cheese Doritos for the spicy chili Doritos.
Oh boy!
In the last batch that I made before I did the whole tater tot thing.
God.
And that was really good. One thing I've always wanted to try is how would this work with Cool Ranch?
Oh, you're a madman.
Right? It's a totally different flavor profile, and yet it's not.
And yet it's not. Oh my God.
So I'm totally going to try that next. That's going to be my next thing.
And we wait with bated breath on your report. At least I do. I'm curious. I love that. Like, okay, this will be the last thing I say, and I swear we'll get back to Dragon Warrior. I do appreciate people who get in the kitchen and then they're able to just like see a recipe, and you don't have to have culinary training either. You're just like, hey man, what if we did this? That sounds like a good idea. And then of course you just fall in love with your creation. Like, that's so cool. I appreciate that a lot. I enjoy cooking, but I'm very much like a by the recipe kind of guy. Unless it's something like I grew up with chicken cutlets and I know how to make them, and like I don't even have to think about them. But recently found a recipe to make turkey chicken, like turkey breast cutlets. And I've taken that recipe for the breadcrumbs, like the batter, and I put that on the chicken, and it's just, I've never looked back. You get like your regular old Progressive breadcrumbs. That's how I used to make it. But then I got this recipe where it's like dash of this, dash of that, some Parmesan cheese, get some panko, and I'm like, holy cow, so fantastic, so fantastic. So
mixing panko and regular breadcrumbs together is one of my favorite things. I just love doing it. It's so good. And almost any time you want to throw breadcrumbs in something, throw in some grated Parmesan, man.
Yes.
That's just wonderful.
Yes.
I put that stuff in my meatballs.
Yes, absolutely.
Good times. Anyway, Dragon Warrior.
Quest. Dragon Warrior, excuse me. Yes. Wait, it depends on where you are. Oh my God.
Is it Parmesan or Parmesan and Romano? Depends on where you are.
Oh, don't get me started on Romano, man. All right, stop. Let's stop.
So we've only got a couple of tracks left. This next track is probably the track, if you've really played this game, this is probably the song you heard more than any of the rest of them. It's the battle theme.
Hey.
So what happens when you get into a fight? So here is the battle theme. Enjoy. And that is the battle theme.
That is so weird.
I've heard catchier music.
Yeah. I've hummed catchier music. That is just...
It sticks with you, though.
Yeah, it does.
And I mean, I'm not going to say it doesn't work, because it does. In the realm of this game, when you're doing these, it makes all the battles have a certain degree of tension to them.
All right, I'll give you that, because that first part, yeah, that part I see that, and then I don't know. There's like that back, yeah, it's so weird. Let me hang on a second. I gotta play this again. Yeah, it's. I don't know. Now I almost don't know what to make of it. At first, I was like, I don't get it. Like, this is weird. That part. Like, that's really cool. That's the part I really enjoyed the most about it. But it's so minute. It's such a small part of a small loop. So it's like, I'd like more of that, please. Oh, I can't have it? Okay, great.
Yeah, I have a hard time really kind of nailing down what I think of this as a song. It really just feels like more of a collection of sounds than a song. You know? Like,
which is really a song, but no, I know what you mean. It's
like an alarm that's going off at different frequencies.
Yes, it's like an alarm. I might change my alarm. Oh God, but no, I know. Oh, what is this?
Can you imagine waking up to this every morning?
No, I'd kill someone before.
That would be the worst alarm ever.
Social experiment. Someone go out and do and report back.
I'm gonna replace my wife's alarm tone with this.
You will die, not her. You will die.
It'll turn into an actual battle, and it won't be turn-based.
Nope.
It'll always be her turn.
Yeah, and she will be facing you. I just snorted. Wow. Okay. Well, anyway, yeah, that's a collection of sounds.
Yeah. All right. Well, then I guess it's time to move on to our last track of the night, and that is the final battle theme. I am very unfamiliar with this track because I never got to the end of this game.
I barely got to the beginning of this game.
I am assuming that this is a final battle against a dragon.
Hey, sure.
I'm probably going to look it up on YouTube while we're listening to the tune. So here is final battle theme. Enjoy. So that was the final battle theme. I did just look it up, and the way it goes is you start the battle. There's like I don't know, the Dragon Lord, the King of Kings, is who you face off against. And well, it looks like the castle from the beginning of the game, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking at. But you fight the Dragon Lord, and he looks like just some dude with green skin and a staff. And after you beat him up, he reveals his true form, which is a blue dragon that is just like, boy, that's a Toriyama picture if I ever saw one. But it reminds me of another reason why the battle system in this game always bugged me, was like, you have all this information, but you don't have all the information you need, and there's no animation at all. So it's just like this fight is just completely on a black screen because it's a relatively big dragon. But it's just a static shot of a dragon and lots of words flipping. Like, this is how many hit points you have. Of how many, it won't tell you, but you just kind of have to know this stuff. But anyway, so this song is, I mean, I guess it's okay. Like, as a song, like, disconnected from its context, it's fine as a piece of music from a video game, but it doesn't really feel as epic as a final boss fight should. You know what I mean? It's very it feels like the kind of music you would hear in the conversation with the bad guy before you start fighting them.
Okay, I can see that.
I don't know. I don't really know what else to make of it. It is one of the more, at least, somewhat complex songs on the soundtrack. You know what I mean? It's got a decent amount of going. It's got a few harmonies in there. It's not a crazy complex song, but in comparison to some of the other stuff we heard, it's a bit more complex. I don't know that I'd call it super memorable. The fight does seem to drag on for a while. Dragon, ha. Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing, man. What did you think of it?
I think you did pretty well for a guy that got nothing. I feel like I have even less than you, but I actually liked it. I thought it was a really good track. I'll agree that it doesn't carry the weight of, some of the stuff you and I will gush over when it comes to big boss music. But I dug it. I think it is better suited maybe for a mini boss or maybe some generic fighting, perhaps. Like, I almost feel like that could have been perhaps the dungeon music, and then jokingly pitch it down just because. But no, don't actually do it. Because I think this track is pretty well put together.
Yeah, you're right. This would make better dungeon music.
It has that vibe for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's good. I like it. I think it's better than maybe a handful of the previous tracks we've listened to, but all in all, I dig.
Yeah.
That's sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's it. Over and out.
I don't know what else to add. That's kind of how I feel.
I think it's
nice.
If you add anything, you're overthinking it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's Dragon Warrior, ladies and gentlemen.
We made it, and y'all got a recipe.
Yeah, you got some taco casserole out of the deal. Well, that's that. Yeah, I guess that's gonna wrap it up for us. Any final thoughts on this game before we close things out?
No, I mean, I'd just be repeating myself when I say, like, I want to like this series because it's so storied and historical. I don't think I'm ever gonna.
Oh, unfortunately with you. I mean, I'm definitely never going to go back and play all of the franchise. I mean,
dear God, no.
All 11 of the RPGs.
Need 2 lifetimes, maybe.
It's I mean, it's 11 JRPGs, but
yeah, some
of them were never released in America in their original forms. They've been re-released, but only on handhelds like the DS and stuff. There are some of them that I am very interested in playing, like Dragon Quest 8, I think, was the one on PS2 that looked really cool. I'd love to really spend a little bit of time with the Super Nintendo ones just to see what they're like. But other than that, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm never going to go back and finish this game because I find it incredibly tedious, but I do really appreciate its music, and I appreciate all that it's done for the world of video games. I mean, it's happy 35th anniversary to Dragon Quest.
Well, that seems kind of sarcastic now that we've, like, given our personal history with the game, our personal feelings of the game, and then, some of the songs. It feels sarcastic, but, I agreed. Happy 35th. I mean, it gave birth to the JRPG series or genre, which head and shoulders above a lot of other games is one of my favorite genres of all time. And I often, or I should say, there was a great stretch of time where all I wanted was a good JRPG. And what that meant to me, I still don't know because, I felt like maybe one of the last great JRPGs I played was Final Fantasy VII. But that's totally not true because I played things in between that were great. So I don't know what the hell I'm looking for. But to say, you know, historical series have bred the genre, like, you know, that's accolades enough, if you ask me.
Yeah, I just want to play Chrono Trigger again.
Yeah.
And maybe I will. But see, I'm actually ready to start Secret of Mana next. So depending on what my next assignment for Nintendo Force is, I'm going to try to make Secret of Mana my next game I play for myself. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, all right, that's going to be it. Thanks for listening, everybody. That's our show. Join in next time where we'll be continuing our anniversary extravaganza with the 30th anniversary of Battletoads. Battletoads for NES.
You are clearly very excited.
I am. I love this game, and I love this soundtrack. This game is so... I unironically love this game. I know there's a lot of jokes out there about Battletoads for some reason. I don't know, it became a meme at some point. Whatever. And I know the game's got some serious problems, but it is amazingly ambitious, and the soundtrack is just David Wise being awesome. So, I'm so excited for this one. I love the Battletoads soundtrack. Anyways, we here at the WaveBack Podcast are incredibly grateful to everyone who listens, and we love communicating with you when we can, and we have a couple of ways we can do that. There's the Geekade Discord channel, in which we have a WaveBack chat where we frequently discuss all manner of stuff relating to video game music and whenever our next episodes are going to be. We also have a WaveBack forum page on Facebook, which you can find by searching WaveBack on Facebook. Of course, you can always still send us an email at mail@geekade.com, and while you're at it, check out all our other social media channels, which you should totally follow, like, and subscribe to if you haven't already. And be sure to check out all the other great content we have on our site at geekade.com. Matt, do you have anything to plug before we leave?
Well, the world's longest one-shot continues to roll. My character is in quite a moral dilemma about what to do next, as his character is being used to further several different interested parties and their interests. So there's probably going to be a giant war, either, if not the next session, definitely the session afterwards. So who knows what's going to happen? Every other Saturday on Twitch at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard. That's twitch.tv/geekade, GEEKADE.
There it is. Let's see. I'll throw in. I'm almost done with the next overplay. I'm working on Mega Man and Mega Man: The Wily Wars. So it's Mega Man 1 versus the Wily Wars. I already did 2 a while back, and that came out super weird. And 1's coming out pretty weird too, because the Genesis version of Mega Man is super weird.
Weird, yeah.
I guess more than anything, I'd want to plug. I have a new podcast. It's called A Theater Near You. It's a movie podcast that I'm doing with 2 of my very best friends, Paul Giroux and Sean Doyle. It's a monthly podcast because that's all I have time for.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't even have time to do that, but I've recently learned that I really enjoy talking to people. I miss some of my friends, and I get to talk to some people that I really enjoy talking to, like Matt and Dan, Stone Age Gamer, and Evan and Angie and my wife, which I get to talk to anyway, but on this week's episode. And I found that podcasting is a really good way to keep in touch with people that I would otherwise probably not keep in touch with as much because I'm by nature antisocial. So I called up 2 of my best friends and I said, we need to start a podcast about movies. We're going to do it once a month, and we're just going to talk about movies. And we recorded the first episode. It went up a week or 2 ago on Geekade. It's called A Theater Near You. It's a lot of fun. And we talked about the new Mortal Kombat movie, which I didn't really like all that much. And the next episode, we're going to be talking about the A-Team movie, because that movie rules.
Oh, I kind of want to be on this show.
We're doing this thing where I'm still trying to figure out the exact way we want to do it, because obviously we want to talk about new, big, important movies when they come out. But Sean had this idea where we should just go alphabetically. Like, just each episode, we each come up with a movie that starts with the next letter of the alphabet, and then we vote on the show, what are we going to do? And then we watch that movie. So we're doing A-Team, and part of me really just wants to keep sticking along with that, and maybe just do the occasional exception when a new movie that we all care about comes out, like Black Widow or something. But Yeah, I don't know. So we're starting with we started with Mortal Kombat as our pilot episode, and now we're gonna do A-Team because that movie just rules.
It really does.
Love that movie so much. It's such a shame that movie is never gonna get a sequel because it wasn't it came out around the same time as Expendables, and it just got trashed because it wasn't the Expendables. And like, but the Expendables isn't all that good. This movie rules.
Having never seen any of the Expendables, I will just smile and nod.
I saw the first one, and I was not impressed.
That's a great review. Not impressed.
Not impressed. The end.
Next.
Anyway, check out a theater near you on geekade.com. Tonight we're going to leave you with, you guessed it, the ending theme. You beat the game, you get to hear a special song. It's only played over the ending, and it's a pretty cool one. So enjoy this, and have sweet dreams about Battletoads, because Battletoads is awesome. We'll see you in a little while. Thanks for listening. Good night.